A 30-cent ice cream beat McDonald's. That sounds impossible. Then you step into China's fast food battlefield. The old global giants are no longer the scariest players. One chain sells fried chicken by the whole bird for barely more than $3. Another has over 33,000 coffee shops and is already testing New York City. One sweet drink empire has crossed 53,000 locations worldwide, making it the largest restaurant chain on earth. This is not a food trend. It is a business warning. For decades, Western fast food exported the same playbook everywhere. Burgers, fries, chicken, coffee, speed, consistency. But in China, local chains copied that machine, rebuilt it around local tastes, and scaled it at terrifying speed. Now the uncomfortable question is simple. What happens when the copy becomes stronger than the original? The test starts with a simple mission. Visit China's biggest homegrown fast food chains, order the signature items, compare the prices, and ask which brands could survive anywhere in the world. The first pattern appears immediately. These restaurants understand global fast food design, but they do not depend on Western menus. They borrow the speed, the packaging, the value psychology, the bright digital boards, and the franchise logic. Then they replace the center of the meal with dumplings, rice bowls, mala broth, roast duck, coconut coffee, and hand-rolled flatbread burgers. That changes everything. This is not just about taste. It is about economics. When a chain can serve a full meal for a few dollars and still expand into thousands of locations, every global fast food giant has a problem. Because the threat is not that China copied Western fast food. The threat is that China may have made it cheaper, more local, and harder to beat. The first stop is Dicos, founded in 1994 in Chengdu, with a brutally clear mission: become the local answer to KFC. Today, Dicos has more than 2,500 locations, placing it among China's major fast food players. At first glance, the strategy feels familiar. Fried chicken, sandwiches, combo meals, bright menu boards. But the product tells a different story. 2 years after opening, Dicos was acquired by another company, and that changed its direction. Instead of remaining a straight copy, it began tuning flavor for local preferences. Then came the first signal. Its signature item is the crispy pistol leg, a chicken leg with the thigh still attached. It is seasoned and fried differently from KFC, with a thicker crunch and a stronger savory profile. 2 crispy pistol legs, plus 2 large Pepsis, cost about $11 total. In many Western markets, a similar chicken meal can easily approach $20. That price gap is not small. It is the business model. Next comes Luckin Coffee, established in 2017. In only a few years, it became the largest coffee chain in China. It now has more than 33,000 locations and has started opening stores in New York City. That turns a local coffee disruptor into a potential global challenger. Luckin's menu focuses on drinks like the coconut latte and velvet latte. The coconut latte uses its own special coconut milk blend, and it became one of the most famous drinks in the country. The velvet latte uses a creamy flavored milk designed to soften the coffee edge. 2 drinks cost less than $4 combined. A single drink at Starbucks can run roughly $7 to $10. Luckin has also recently purchased another major American coffee brand. While Starbucks faces declining sales, that is no longer imitation. That is a counterattack. Then the burger gets rewritten. Tastien is built around the Chinese burger. But the difference is not just marketing. Instead of the classic sesame bun, Tastien uses hand-rolled Chinese flatbread, baked in-house. The result is lighter, thinner, and more fragrant than a typical fast food bun. That detail matters. The menu still understands burger psychology. You hold it with 2 hands. It arrives wrapped. It looks familiar enough to reduce risk, but inside, the fillings change the category. The signature spicy chicken leg burger delivers the comfort of fried chicken with the texture of flatbread. Then there's the roast duck burger filled with Peking duck. That is menu localization at a high level. A national dish becomes a portable fast food product. The spicy chicken leg burger works because it keeps the core promise of fast food. Hot, easy, flavorful, and quick. The roast duck burger is riskier. Its sweetness and strong cumin profile can surprise anyone expecting a conventional burger. But that is exactly the point. Tastien is not trying to copy the American burger. It is trying to replace the expectation. Then, dumplings enter the race. Yang's Dumplings began in 1994 as a single shop in Shanghai. Today it has a few hundred locations, built around shangjianbao, a dumpling that feels almost impossible for fast food. These dumplings are filled and shaped by hand, then cooked in a way that gives them soup-filled centers and crisp pan-fried bottoms. 4 costs less than $2. That is the twist. The business genius is in the hybrid process. Machines help cook at speed, but workers still handle the shaping. The result feels handcrafted, yet the service runs fast enough for a chain model. It is fast food without feeling industrial. That may be the strongest combination in the category. Mr. Rice takes a different route. It has more than 1,000 locations and builds its brand around home-style meals at fast food prices. The format is simple. Customers take a tray, move down a line of more than 30 dishes, and choose what they want. It feels familiar to anyone who has seen cafeteria-style service. But the dishes are not just orange chicken and fried rice. The menu includes braised pork belly, egg dishes, fried bean curd, shredded potatoes, rice, and other items usually associated with sit-down meals. A full plate with several dishes costs about $8. That price turns everyday comfort food into a repeatable franchise engine. The insight is sharp. Fast food does not always need to mean burgers or chicken. Sometimes it means taking the meal people already want and removing the weight. Comfort became scalable. Then the most unfamiliar chain changes the rules again. Guo Fu has more than 6,000 locations and serves malatang, a food style that traces back centuries to the street vendors of Sichuan province. The old format was simple: a pot of spicy broth, customers choosing ingredients, and a bowl built to personal taste. The modern version keeps that logic. Customers grab a bowl, fill it with meatballs, seafood, noodles, cabbage, rice cakes, vegetables, tofu, or whatever they want. Then they choose a broth, from classic bone broth to spicy mala to sweet and sour tomato. The bowl arrives in under 10 minutes. That is customization at scale. It looks more like hot pot than fast food, but the economics say otherwise. Thousands of stores, fast assembly, ingredient flexibility, a ticket built by weight and choice. For customers, it feels personal. For the company, it is a standardized system hiding inside a customized meal. That is the magic trick. Then comes Wallace, founded in 2001. It now has over 20,000 locations in China, more than KFC and McDonald's there. Wallace grew by doing what the giants did not prioritize. Instead of focusing only on the biggest cities, it pushed into small towns, college campuses, and train stations. Its signature move is shocking: the whole bird. Wallace sells an entire crispy fried chicken for less than $5, and in one order it costs only a little more than $3. That is not a side item. That is a full bird, cooked and sold like fast food. The strategy is brutally effective. While premium chains sell convenience, Wallace sells abundance. The flavor is simpler than Dicos, but the value is extreme. A whole fried chicken at that price changes the customer's calculation instantly. Wallace has already opened its first location in the United States. That turns the value threat into a real expansion story. Finally, there is Mixue. Mixue has more than 53,000 locations worldwide, making it the largest restaurant chain on the planet.
Some locations already exist in the United States, but many people still do not realize how huge it is.
Its world is built around low-cost sweets, teas, coffee drinks, lemonade, and a smiling mascot that appears everywhere. The signature ice cream costs less than 50 cents, and in some cases around 30 cents each. A spread of multiple drinks and ice creams can cost $5 total. One coconut latte costs about $1.63. That is not cheap. That is surgical. The ice cream is creamy, smooth, and absurdly inexpensive. The teas may taste lighter than premium cafe drinks, but the pricing changes the standard. Mixue does not need to beat expensive cafes on luxury. It beats them on access, impulse, and volume. A customer does not need to plan a visit. They just see the price, see the mascot, and buy. Then they come back. That is how a tiny transaction becomes global dominance. The lesson is clear. China's fast food empires are not winning by copying Western chains forever. They are winning by absorbing the fast food machine, then feeding it local behavior. Dicos attacks fried chicken. Luckin attacks coffee. Tastien rewrites the burger. Yang's makes dumplings scalable. Mr. Rice turns home-style meals into quick service. Guo Fu makes custom broth bowls fast. Wallace weaponizes whole chicken value. Mixue turns tiny prices into worldwide dominance. The old giants built the global fast food language. These chains are now speaking it with new ingredients, lower prices, and frightening scale. The playbook that helped Western brands conquer the world is now being used against them. Speed is no longer their advantage. Scale is no longer guaranteed. Even the menu is no longer theirs to define. The battleground has moved. For years, McDonald's, KFC, Starbucks, and other giants looked almost unbeatable because they combined convenience with trust. You knew what you were getting. You knew how it would taste. You knew how fast it would arrive. But China's chains are asking a more dangerous question. What if customers can get something familiar enough to trust, local enough to crave, and cheap enough to repeat every day? That is not a small shift. That is a global pricing challenge. Because once customers eat well for a few dollars, the old prices start to look fragile. A $10 coffee feels different after a $2 latte. A $20 chicken meal feels different after an $11 combo. A premium snack feels different after a 30-cent ice cream. Value changes memory.
And when value combines with speed, localization, and thousands of stores, it becomes more than a bargain.
It becomes pressure. Pressure on menus, pressure on margins, pressure on the belief that Western chains will always define modern fast food. The most dangerous brand may not be the one with the fanciest menu. It may not be the one with the biggest name. It may not even be the one that tastes the best. The old giants taught the world how fast food works. China's chains learned the lesson, lowered the price, and changed the battlefield. The real threat is not that fast food got copied. It is that the copy learned how to win.